Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7. Now today, we have another account overview for you guys, and this time, we have a few new characters that have been added to the roster. So, without any further ado, let's just jump right into this. Now, as we load up the hero screen here, I would ask you to join our Discord server. Link to it will be in the description down below, and there you can always feel free to ask me anytime what my current and most up-to-date builds are. You can also find in the pinned comments of the Epic 7 channel an entire album of all of my units and their stats. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now here we go, we have Holiday Yufine right here, first unit off here. I'm trying to get her to plus 15, still missing a couple of molas here, but I'm saving my molas for another unit, which I'll show you later, but she will eventually be plus 15. Now she is currently on a damage build, so as you can see, pretty decent attack. I would like it to be higher, but as of right now I just can't reach those stats, because I do want to maintain some kind of bulk on her. As you can see, she does have a bit of speed. She goes before most of my standard 200 speed DPSs, so she can actually cleanse debuffs and such. You can also still pick her into things like Bazaar, which is also pretty nice. Now she's on almost 100% crit rate. Like, she doesn't need 100% here. It's really hard to actually get her on 100% crit rate without getting like a crit chance neck, because she doesn't awaken or have any imprints into crit chance. So it's kind of difficult for that. I'm running her on Sigurd's Scythe right now, and that's because if she ever gets low, because her S1 is, or S3 too, they're both AoE skills, you're going to be able to heal up to max health really easily, even with these very scuffed damage stats. But I did need a fire AoE DPS, and Holiday Yufine just fit the bill, so here we go. Alright, so moving on here, we have our Fire Cecilia. I know some of you guys have been asking about her stats. She's been getting tweaked here and there, and I finally popped my free on equip little buff, and I got her stats to where I want them to be. Now, have her mola to pretty decent. Like, I don't have this 4th enhance here for the extra effect chance, because I'm waiting for a friendship to get to level 10, and then I'll use that to fill in here. Her S2, just for the effect chance. S3, need the effect chance. She does require quite a few molas, especially for a support unit, but in my opinion, she's really worth it. So here we go, here are her stats, and she's pretty much running a tanky, bulky build, right? Pretty decent speed, 230 something. She's actually speed tuned with another unit I love to draft with her, which is Alencia. So we'll show her stats later, but 230 speed works out pretty well. She has quite a bit of crit chance. It's because I don't have the gems to kind of mod this out for things like effectiveness. But again, she's running about 100% effectiveness, which is pretty good. If I can push that up, like just a little bit more to maybe closer to 150, if I can get this crit chance away for effectiveness, it'd be kind of nice. But oh well, as of right now, it works really well. And she's on Bastion of Perlucia. This helps me bring in some DPS units that don't have immunity on them, or just need a shield for them to, a very thick shield for them to survive the first couple of turns. So it's pretty nice. And her EE here, I like to use the one that dispels a buff, adds more utility. After your first turn, if your opponent starts buffing and stuff, you can start stripping away that kind of stuff there, and help your team with the attack down as well. Alright, so that's the Fire Cecilia right here. Moving on, we have Lilias, and Lilias here is, I don't really draft her too much in RTA anymore, because I have Fire Cecilia that I use way more often. I prefer getting the immunity buff up rather than having Lilias resist and then cleansing all of the debuffs. I do have dedicated cleansers, but I'll show those later. So Lilias here is more on a PvE type build. She's still usable, very usable in PvP. There's no doubt about that. But her stats right here, just a bit of bulk, a little bit of effectiveness, and a bit of effect resist. She's not going to be, provoked by 0 effectiveness FCCs or 0 effectiveness Kraus and stuff like that. So, it's pretty decent to have. This effect res here is actually for the Dark Expedition, which, by the way, if you want to check out my team for that, link to it will be in the pinned comments as well. Alright, so Lilias here is running sort of a Zera, mostly for the expeditions that I bring her to. This can be switched for anything like Adamant Aureus. I just need another copy of Aureus, or maybe an adamant shield, not plop it on her. It'd be quite effective. But yeah, this just helps her survive. She doesn't really need it. I just have it on her because it's a spare artifact that I currently have. Alright, so moving on here, we have Kayron. Now, unfortunately for Kayron, he had a bit of his gear stripped because of Holly Yufine when I was trying to put her on damage. So he lost his chest piece because he lost his immunity helmet, and I didn't have another one for him. So he's on this really scuffed speed helmet, as you can see here. So still over, I mean, almost 4,100 attack, still very nice. You see here, this is a very scuffed piece. Maybe if I mod this for crit damage, it'd be okay. This piece sucks. Really bad immunity chest piece here. Oh well, what can you do though? So he used to have about almost 300 crit damage, but unfortunately right now he does not. But again, if I get a helmet and a chest piece, I'm farming more immunity right now. Hopefully I can bring him back up to where he used to be. But then again, on the other hand, I don't really draft him all that often anymore because there's so many units that strip out there. Cerise is a very common pick as well, which pretty much counters Kayron. And yeah, he struggles a little bit. He's very good as a last pick into certain comps though, so he's still a very viable option. I do like to keep him geared for that reason. He's on Aaliyah's knife, which actually helps quite a bit for, you know, cutting through units with very thick defense. And I have him on his S3EE, which gives him additional damage when using his S3. Alright, so there we go. That's my Kayron. Unfortunately, a little bit scuffed, but that's okay. Alright, next up is Khawana. Some of you guys have been asking about her stats and how fast she really is. I think she's still quite slow, but she's still my fastest unit as of right now. I can gear some units to be over 300 speed, but I prefer to spread out my speed gear. So as of right now, she's 290 speed. The reason why she's my fastest unit right now is because no one in their right mind is just gonna ban a Khawana, because honestly 80-85% of the people out there in this game don't know what Khawana does, right? So no one's ever banned her when I pick her to speed contest. The only downside is you can't really speed contest a Cerise, because in that case, you know, you have a 50-50 chance of stunning her, right? Which is not too great. But think of Khawana as a more offensive ML Rin. I have her actually on a bit of crit chance as well. And the reason for that being, if I draft her with Cdom's team imprint brings her to 100% crit chance, and she'll be able to push Cdom up so that you can do a kind of a weird cleave. And Khawana actually has an attack buff for the whole team as well on her S2, so that's actually quite nice right here. Right, so that helps Cdom nuke somebody right off the bat. Also helps your follow-up cleavers potentially do some damage as well. Alright, here we have Double Edge Decrescent, I think is what it's pronounced as. And the only reason being I don't have an extra copy of RNL that's still on my ML Rin. And this one's still decent though, because you have about a 25% chance to silence an enemy for a turn with a single target attack. So, you know, if you get 15%ed on your stun, you still have a chance to silence them. Changes her S1 to have silence as well, essentially, which is actually quite useful sometimes because she's able to lap, right, with this kind of speed. She's able to lap the opponents, which is quite nice. Might test some other artifacts here, maybe like Ranon's Memorandum, which allows her to, each time she takes a turn, gives her additional speed. So, you know, her bulk allows her to stay alive. You don't really need too much effectiveness on her, because if you're contesting for first turn and you're trying to stun something, you're not going to be stunning like the 250 effect res like DJ Bassars, right? You're not going to be going after the potentially 150 effect res Ruels or things. You probably wouldn't even draft her in those types of situations. You'd be hitting people that don't have any resistance, right? People that are trying to take turn one, they usually have effectiveness and just a bunch of speed. So that's the reason why she doesn't need the effectiveness, and she works perfectly fine. Alright, there we go. Next up we have my Lidica, my Fire Lidica here. I took her off her skin just because I actually kind of really like her original design as well. So just giving this a bit of love as well. Here we go. These are her stats. She's on a offensive build, kind of on some spare gear. I mean, this gear kind of isn't that good. So yeah, it's okay. But what she's used for really is to fight Kayrons in Guild Wars. I do sometimes bring a mono fire Khawana team if the Guild War defense team does not have any ice units. And she works really well for controlling things like Kayron, which normally you'd struggle against with a mono fire team that doesn't really have too much bulk. You're trying to go for cleave, essentially, fire cleave. She's quite nice for that. She can push him all the way back to the well, all the way back to the back, and you'll strip his immortality, hopefully, right? That's why she's on damage, so she'll get him all the way down to trigger his immortality, but then the S1 will trigger and strip the immortality, and then she'll lap him and then, you know, just finish him off. So that's what she's there for. She's on a plus 30 Portrait of the Saviors. If you haven't farmed this, by the way, probably should. Very good artifact. Although by the time this video comes up, maybe the event is gone. I don't know. But yeah, I have like 5 or 6 copies of this Max Limit Broken. It's a really good DPS artifact. Anyway, we have Eternal Rose here, which is her exclusive equipment. Going for the one that dispels an additional buff on her S2, because I find that to be the most versatile one, right? So I like using that, especially for Guild Wars, where, you know, the enemy team tends to have a lot of buffs. It's pretty nice. Alright, moving on here, we have my Melissa. I've been trying to get these substat stones, but it's kind of hard to come by them for some reason. Destruction Gear substones never drop crit damage stones, so quite unfortunate. But here are her stats. I don't think anything's really changed from last time. I might have given her a little bit of extra speed. But yeah, I really want to get rid of this effectiveness here. Crit damage or speed here would be very nice. Same thing here, crit damage or, actually speed is there. Crit damage here would be very nice. That's what I want there. This piece, that's fine. I don't really care about it. She does her job. These offensive stats really do their job here. She has no trouble killing the units that she's meant to kill, like Rylets, for example. Right, this really low roll, 3% attack sucks, but I'll try to get something better on that. And then perhaps reforge it as well, push her to 180 something speed, which is actually a very comfortable speed for her to be at. She's currently on Oath Key. You can switch her to any of the other artifacts that also increase crit chance, but make sure it's 20% if you're fighting Rylets, because it cancels out Moonlight Dream Blade, so it's really nice. But yeah, there's Melissa. Sometimes she's brought into the Mono Fire team for some fun, but she works overall as well, just against Revenant Violets. Alright, moving on here, we have my Researcher, Carrot. Now, Carrot here, one of my favorite units, my rep unit, obviously, and actually, she's almost Friendship 10, that's fantastic. Alright, here are her stats, though. Nothing's really changed. I really need substat stones, but I'm prioritizing some other units right now. I want to get rid of all this crit chance. You don't need any of that crit chance at all. Don't need crit damage, right? I want to get rid of this crit chance here. Probably plop some more effectiveness on. I want more bulk as well. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Like right here, trying to get rid of this crit damage, trying to get maybe some flat attack or something here, flat HP, flat defense. I would just like her to be more bulky, that's all. Same thing here, get rid of the crit chance, maybe put some HP percent in here, because that's what I'm lacking on this piece, right? So overall, very happy with her. I don't really bring her into a mono fire team, but she does work quite well with units like Rose and Alencia, right? So you can strip the opponent's buffs, apply a bunch of burns, and then Rose with the attack buff helps you kind of deal a bunch of burn damage. So it's quite nice and fun to run in Guild Wars, but I don't really draft an RTA unless it's like really early in the season and I'm just having some fun. Alright, moving on, we have Achates, my Guild Wars healer here. Very fun to use. I use her with Dark Corvus, I use her with General Purgus. She's on she's actually got a bit more resistance, I believe, from last time, so it's pretty nice. She's not on immunity, but it's okay. She normally doesn't get debuffed by most things, at least at my Guild War level right now. I mean, I know in higher level Guild Wars you might run into Tempest Surins that are really fast, that have like 150 effectiveness and stuff, that can silence your healers and then really screw you over. But yeah, it's overall, she works really well. Her S2 gives herself effect res buff for 2 turns here, so she's basically at 170% res. Really, you're not going to get debuffed by anything at that point, unless they're dedicated debuffers, right? She's on Rod of Amaryllis to help her healing potential and her healing output, especially on her S2, which is quite nice. Yeah, very happy with her build. I don't bring her into RTA. There's really not a real place for her right now in RTA, unless you build her with like 250 res, but even in that case, actually no, I feel like she does have her own niche for being a very strong healer. She's kind of in the same boat as Diene, right? Kind of in the same boat as Diene. Alright, moving on here, we have Tamarinne. Alright, so Tamarinne here, built for PvE, she's built for expeditions. If you would like to check out my expedition teams, I use her in the fire and the dark ones. Link to those will be in the pinned comments down below. As you can see though, no I-90 gear, not the best bulk, not the best speed, not the best effectiveness or effect res, just kind of there, right? She works on a bunch of spare gear, like a lot of these things were free, like free boots, free chest pieces, right? And she does her job. She needs over 85% effectiveness to be able to strip buffs from the bosses reliably, and she needs over 100% effect res to be able to resist the Dark Expedition's little cannon that always tries to reset your skill cooldowns. Other than that, just put as much as you can to bulk and some speed. Right, she works really well off of flat HP stats, right? So if you have those, that's where she gets the most value. And she's currently on Magaraha's Tome. I should plus 30 this, but it helps her cycle very, very well in expeditions, taking more and more turns, keeping your team healthy and healed, while also boosting up your team's combat readiness for some more turns, right, when she's in idle form. Alright, so there's the Tamarinne right there. Next up we have Luna, the Queen of Expeditions now. Oh my goodness, is she very strong. So here are her stats. Nothing's really changed from last time. Didn't I-90 anything except her boots. Her boots have been I-90'd. But, you know, she could have a bunch more damage output, bunch more stats here if I did. But I haven't. So here we are. She does need a little bit of bulk here to survive in the Dark Expedition because she does not have a non-attack skill, which means that she will be taking damage from her own electrocution. Everyone else in the Dark Expedition team can cleanse themselves, so there is that. Right? She's on Uberius' Tooth right now. You can put her on, I think it's like Ancient Sheath or something. Whatever increases the damage of basic attacks, that is actually really nice. A 3-star artifact, you can plus 30 it, slap it on her, works really well. I just slapped this on her because I just had it, and it works. I mean, it does its job, right? A little bit extra damage here and there matters. She's currently on the Combat Readiness EE though. This one allows her to cycle her turns in expeditions, push herself up the more turns she takes, because she's the primary DPS, the more damage output you will have. So that's my build for Luna. And moving on, we have Queen of Expeditions meets the Queen of Wyvern. We have Sigret right here with... Here we go. These offensive stats. She's on a crit damage set. I mean, this is all free gear, essentially, right? All this crit damage stuff is free gear. And these hit sets actually rolled quite well. They're just random hit sets I had laying around, and I rolled them. Turned out pretty good, so why not? Now you're going to notice that I aimed for pieces that specifically had effectiveness. She's reached about 70-something% effectiveness, which is good enough to debuff Wyvern. I do use her for debuffs as well as damage. Now you're going to notice her crit chance is low. You only need 85% against Wyvern because you have elemental advantage to make up the rest of the 15%. But I have Karin, who gives a team imprint for crit chance, 15% there, and so that makes Sigret up to 100%. So utilize team imprints and stuff when you're building hunt teams and PvE teams. Those can really help kind of help you focus on more damage stats rather than focusing on like crit chance and stuff like that. Right, so it's pretty nice. She's on Daydream Joker plus 30, of course, PvE, and she is on the EE that changes her smash condition to 75% instead of 50. So that way she can, on her first turn against the Wyvern, land a bunch of debuffs on the boss, and you don't have to worry about the Wyvern killing your backline anytime soon. Okay, moving on here, we have Ice Krau. Oh, yeah, this Ice Krau looking really nice. So, finally ended up switching around some pieces, started changing some substats here and there. And I'm very happy with him right now. Actually, very happy with him. His HP could be higher. If he had imprints, self-imprints, it would be, 24,000, which is very respectable. His defense fell by a bit to get more HP here and get more effect res there, to make sure I had everything balanced. I can, of course, try to swap all this crit chance off, like this crit chance here. I want to try to get some flat stats here, would be very nice. And yeah, this piece here as well, I want to try to get some defense percent, probably in place of the crit chance. Get rid of the crit chance here and then put some defense percent there. Be quite nice. And then right here, yeah, probably get some HP percent in place of the crit chance down here as well. So try to get rid of the crit chance. I still have more potential for HP, which is always very nice. He's only on a plus 15 Aurea, so I can of course plus 30 this and get more HP as well. However, right now, as you can see, I don't have the gold for it, and also I don't have the charms right now for it as well. FCC is my primary plus 30 Aureus holder, so it's pretty nice. And plus, the plus 15 is okay. Because my Krau is actually not where I want him to be in terms of HP, he does die a bit quicker than usual. So having a plus 15 Aureus actually makes him take less of the damage from his teammates, which is actually quite nice for helping him survive sometimes. So it's kind of a little dichotomy there, but hey, it works. Alright, moving on here, we have my Rose. I don't really use Rose all too much in RTA now because of Cleave. However, because Cleave is dead. But, however, she is a very strong last pick. And I do like to last pick her, or maybe Lidica and stuff like that. And she usually ends up getting banned, but you know what? It's okay. She's not even fully I-90'd here. I mean, her weapon really sucks. I mean, what is this, right? What is this? I don't know. But it had speed, so I put it on her. She's 250 speed. She's quite a low base speed, so it's okay. 250 is not that fast. Most people's Roses who are very dedicated to, you know, trying to take first turn or something like that, up to like 270s, right? Maybe even pushing 280s, which is actually quite impressive. You need insane speed gear for that, but I have seen those. In terms of, you know, PvE, she's actually really good in the the Fire Expedition as well. She's currently on Aureus. I know I was on some weird stuff before. She used to be on Bastion, which was very nice for when you're cleaving, because you don't care about Celine basically attacking your DPS. So that was nice. And then I had her on Steadfast Guardian because it was a placeholder, and now it's on Aureus. I think Aureus is a pretty decent artifact for her, or any knight overall. So there we go for that. And she's currently on the EE for decreasing cooldown of her S3, which helps her cycle, of course, in PvE. And of course, in PvP, she actually takes quite a few turns with her speed. So being able to get some multiple pushes and attack buffs in is very, very nice. But yeah, I do want to get her a better weapon, and I still want to keep her geared, because I do enjoy using her in Guild Wars as well. Alright, moving on, we have Karin here, which I told you guys has the 15% crit chance, right? See here, the team imprints. Okay, so I keep her on team imprints. I don't have her on her self imprint here. She doesn't need it, because you only need the 85% crit chance to attack the Wyvern. So that's all we need. She's on a damage support kind of build. She has effectiveness. She has pretty decent damage. Her attack is quite low, because as you can see, I'm missing like attack subs here, right? My attack rolls are low here. I'm mostly trying to fulfill like an effectiveness threshold, right? Because she does have defense break, so she is my primary defense breaker for Wyvern. And yeah, as you can see, not the best attack percent here, but a ton of effectiveness. Although none of these pieces are I-90'd, so do keep that in mind as well. She does have plus 30 Daydream Joker, which is quite nice. Maybe one day she'll get an EE or something that might help her potential in PvP, or hey, maybe even solidify her role as a PvE unit in Wyvern. So we can hope. Alright, moving on here, we have Kise. So speaking of PvP, yeah, we got Kise slightly tweaked here. She's plus 15 now. Very happy about that. She's been deleting Ravis in RTA. I like to counterpick her into Ravis, and most people don't ban Kise because why would you, right? So yeah, here we go. Here are her stats right here. Pretty decent. I mean, this piece that we got from the arena shop, very nice rolls here, especially into the speed, right? Unfortunately, I can't reforge this, otherwise it'd be insane. However, I did switch the, I believe it was resistance down here, switch it to some defense, because why not? I had a spare little stone, so I threw it in there. But yeah, for the most part, getting speed on her, right? Maintaining her damage, about 4k attack, about almost 275 crit damage, pretty nice. I might be able to mod this eventually when I get a crit damage stone to crit damage here, and that would be even better. And she is currently on Symbol of Unity. So Symbol of Unity is on the hit chance, right? And it gives more damage. So it's kind of like running her on Portrait, except you can also try to take her into I guess you don't really care as much about Earth units, right? 30% chance to hit them. You can also take her into Rylets, which I do quite a bit, because she's speed tuned with my Falconer Kluri. My Falconer Kluri is like 255 speed. So Kluri will go, strip the Rylet, Kise goes after, snipes him off. This makes it so that Moonlight Dreamblade is not a factor, which is very nice. So she is one of my Rylet killers in RTA. And yeah, it's pretty nice, pretty nice. Okay, moving on here, we have Cerise, very scuffed. Avert your eyes, guys. Don't look at this. It's disgusting. I know. I don't really draft her, unfortunately. I just, in my current play style, I don't really have a use for her. However, when I get more speed gear, I might switch her back onto probably a 285, 290 speed build. Maybe if I took Kawana's gear, but I do need better effectiveness rings. The part I struggle with the most is getting effectiveness here. Right, effectiveness rings with speed. My fastest one I think might be this one. Might be the 17 speed one, but it's on a crit set. I don't have any ones on speed set, which really sucks. But yeah, so she's on some spare stuff that I had laying around. Not the best overall stats, not even I-90'd here. She's on Misconfeel. For if you bring her, having a chance defense break is very nice. Or if I bring her, sorry. Yeah, in RTA, if you pick a Cerise, most people are not going to try to speed contest you. They're going to probably try to find other ways to kind of bring up a going second team, right? So you can get away with lower speeds. Not this low, though. Maybe like 270 something. You could probably get away with that. Speaking from a champion perspective, you could probably get away with that because no one really contests Cerise on speed there. But yeah, I mean, she's Molad, right? I do really want to put her on a viable build, but as of right now, don't have the gear for her. Okay, moving on, we have Flan. She's so fun. So many Guild War defense wins because no one knows how to really deal with her. People are starting to learn though, so I'm switching up my defense. But yeah, she's rocking solid defensive stats, good decent speed, and nice effectiveness here. So her speed is fine. She used to be a little bit faster, like 245 or something, 240. Slowed her down gradually over time as other units start taking her pieces. But, I mean, overall, she doesn't need that much speed because she's not going first. Right? She goes after whoever's stripping, and then she'll defense break the team, and then you can cleave. She's fun in things like Arena if the opponent doesn't have Politis or Celine. So she's also really fun to use in Guild Wars. So there's that. She's currently on her own artifact here, which allows her to grant your team 10 souls, which is really nice because after you defense break with her S3, then your follow-up DPS can soul burn and, cleave the opponent. So that's always nice. All right, moving on here, we have SSB. And SSB here, getting a few substat stone changes, right? So almost 16k HP, very solid defense. I really like that. This is a no-speed SSB, so she sits in the back. The opponent keeps going, she keeps countering, and you're good, right? Now, the downside is there's a Neo ML5 coming out. That does counter SSB quite a bit as well, as if Roana wasn't enough. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't normally draft her all too often, actually, but if I see the opportunity to, I go for it. She is lacking a bit more attack because this is not a reforgeable piece. I do want a better piece than this, right? I can definitely do better in terms of bulk here. I just need a solid crit set boot with attack percent main stat sub to drop, right? So still waiting on that, but would like to move this effectiveness to more bulk or more attack. So that'd be good. She's on Drink, plus 30 Drink, of course. Best in-slot artifact for her, in my opinion. Deals the most damage, chip damage, makes her viable against Rylets, and all that good stuff. Yeah, T-Surins as well. Alright, so moving on here, we have Dizzy. Still same old counter build. Not really too happy with her stats right now. She could definitely be way bulkier, right? I mean, look at this. What is this stats right here, right? All useless stats, except for the health. And maybe a bit of speed, right? But attack, effector as kind of useless here. So very sad. All these pieces could definitely have much better subs. But yeah, we're still waiting. We're still waiting on some better counter and immunity pieces to drop. I'm still farming Azimanic, trying to get more immunity because I'm trying to build more bruisers nowadays. So That's where we are right now. A lot of these pieces, as you can tell, are free, right? Like the weapon and the ring were from the arena, and I believe the helmet is from Hellraid. So overall, pretty decent. Whenever I bring her, she works. People struggle against disease to this very day. Ban the champion Zerato, and you're good. Although, of course, there are a lot of dedicated cleansers and healers out now. Kitty Clarissa, Destina, Achates, Montmorancy. You have DJ Bassar, Ray, right? All these units that just kind of people have started building now and have available to them in their rosters. So people are less scared of debuffs nowadays, I believe. Lilibet is another one. That's a very strong unit. So if you do draft her as a last pick. All right, moving on here, we have Fairytale Tenebria. No molas. I'm trying to do the friendship here to get her molas there. Because I don't really want to mola anything else here. Yeah, it's all damage. A bit of effect chance, but whatever. Okay, but she's almost there, right? Friendship 9. She's almost at Friendship 10. So here are her stats. Not the most impressive. I don't really go for a very fast F10A. She's usually the last pick for me, and she will do her job, right? If she gets through, she's probably going first, because otherwise it wouldn't last pick her. And yeah, pretty decent overall. I have her on 100% crit chance though, because she actually does a fair bit of damage with her AoEs, which is quite nice. Her effectiveness is pretty high as well. And she has a decent bulk, not the best, but decent. 100% crit chance also helps if your opponent's running a slower team and you have the last 2 picks. Draft F10A and CDOM could also work. And yeah, I have her on Sierra Wren. I don't have, what is it called? Abyssal Crown. I really would like more Abyssal Crowns, but Sierra Wren at plus 30, actually quite an underrated artifact. The decreased attack is pretty good. Decreased hit chance is always fantastic. Silence and Sleep are very debilitating, and the poison might come in handy sometimes. I mean, on her S1, it could give you extra poison stacks, which can potentially kill. But yeah, the Silence and Sleep are the 2 strongest ones here. Very, very nice to have. Essentially a pseudo Abyssal Crown, right? Except you just have a 2/5 chance. You have a higher chance of debuff, but it's a 2/5 chance again, the one you want. All right, so moving on here, we have our Luluca, and Luluca has been benefiting from a buffed artifact, as we can see here. So here are her stats: PvE unit. I use her in raid, and that's about it. So here's all her stats here, all her gear. Not the best gear, right? I mean, like, what is this? This is a +6 piece of gear, right? Awful piece. But yeah, here's all her stuff. Blue necklace. Has the crit chance, so why not? And not even an I-90 boot. Although this boot is actually pretty decent. It's a pretty decent boot, but low rolls here and here. But it's overall okay. Maybe if I use a stat change gem on it, will look better on somebody else. But she's currently rocking Black Hand of the Goddess. Very nice artifact for crit chance, crit damage. So helps her out quite a bit because I don't have her maxed out here. And she's currently on the S1 EE for additional chance to attack with her S1. So it's quite good. Extra chances defense break, extra damage that's output by her. So it's very nice. I'm just happy that she has a use, right? Very happy she has a use. I don't use her on expeditions anymore. I use Falconer Kluri instead on the fire expedition for the defense breaks. Okay, moving on, we have Montmorancy here. Switched her back to PvE build. I think I did so last time as well in the last review, but I don't remember. Yeah, so she's not on her 250 effect res build anymore because I have better dedicated cleansers. Momo's okay, but she only cleanses 1 debuff on each unit. Whereas a unit like Kitty Clarissa, DJ Bassar is a full cleanse. You know, even Achates is a full cleanse. So it's very nice to have that. She's still decent though. Use her all the time in PvE. Use her everywhere. And really bad stats here. But hey, I mean, look at that crit damage, right? But she doesn't need to have optimal stats to perform. She just needs bulk. She just needs resistance and some speed. And you'll be good, right? So there we go, those are her stats, nothing I-90'd here. And yeah, she's on Rod of Amaryllis to help her healing output, which is always quite nice. Alright, moving on here, we have Diene. Diene here is actually very, very optimized right now. Used a bunch of stat change stones on her. As you can see, we'll just go through her equipment real quick. 235 speed, no wasted stats, 150% effect res. Would like that to be higher, but unfortunately right now I do not have the pieces for it. But yeah, very happy with her right now. Don't draft her very often, but when I do, she puts in work. The reason why you don't draft her very often anymore is because, one, LR Krau and ML Haste exists with true damage, which really hurts. But even if you ban the ML Krau, they're probably going to pick something like Landy into your team with a bunch of buffs, and that's not good. Although, if you pick Diene with Landy, that is something that's very scary to deal with. Alright, so we're on Rod of Amaryllis right here for the additional healing output. It's a very nice Soul Weaver artifact, if you couldn't tell already. I have it on so many of my units. Alright, so moving on, now we have Alencia. Here's a unit I draft quite a bit, and I've tweaked her stats ever so slightly, but they work really well. So here we go. I would like to plus 15 her at some point, because she does benefit from the extra damage. Alright. But here are her stats. So, she's currently rocking a build that's almost 240 speed. And the reason for that being, I'm seeing a lot of Arbiter Vildreds going up to like 230, 240, some 250 speeds. So this allows me to, for the most part, get a defense buff up before their DPSs go, before things like RBs and Rileys and stuff go. It's very nice. I've been really much enjoying it. And it helps her actually cycle her turns, right? I don't like her too slow, otherwise she won't be taking turns. But she's a very, very solid unit. Right here I want to switch this effectiveness to defense, and then I'll be very solid. We're on Draco play right here, helps reduce the damage that she takes, and also increases the amount of damage that she does. Because her crit damage here is quite low, but boosting it up to 370 is actually quite nice. Yeah, so very happy with her build right here. I increased her speed so that she actually, she used to be like 1 or 2 speed higher than my Fire CC. I think she used to be 233. But with 239 now, it's pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to be going before my Fire Cecilia, strip the opponent's buffs so that Fire Cecilia can provoke the entire team and give my team immunity. So defense buff and immunity together, very solid combination, right? So that's my Alencia here. Very happy with her. Again, just waiting for a stone right here, and then we'll be perfect. Alright, moving on here, we have Lilibet. Lilibet, I don't think much has changed. Maybe swapped a couple pieces of gear, but her stats have essentially stayed the same. Over 200 speed's very nice, because then you only need a simple CR pusher like Lidica, maybe Rose, to get her up to kill Arbiter Vildreds. And that's pretty much all I use her for in Guild Wars. Very solid unit for that. And yeah, on some decent gear, like spare pieces that I had laying around, right? Some not I-90'd, right? This was a free piece of gear here. Rolled pretty decently, but free piece of gear. 11 speed is nice. She's on a plus 30 Portrait of the Saviors, which is for increased damage. Kill those RBs, right? And extra damage on her S3. Again, kill those RBs. Especially there's so many degen RBs running around, especially in Guild War defenses, that it's quite nice, right? Give her an attack buff, and she'll be able to kill them. Easy peasy. Alright, moving on here, we have Mercenary Helga. It's a unit I've been working on for fun. Just, you can see her stuff's changing like every single time. I use her in mock battles usually. I don't really bring her into RTA. She is fun sometimes in Guild Wars if they have a kind of a scuffed defense that I can abuse her in. She is a speed imprint though, so that's why I want to build her. She's a speed imprint, so it's quite nice. If you have a bruisery comp, but you're also picking 1 or 2 speed contesters against your opponent, she could make or break the first turn. So it's quite nice, although I don't really know if she's the best unit to be bringing, right? You can bring like Merca, you can bring all these other arguably better units, but Helga's fun. Helga's fun. Here are her stats here. She's on a damagey kind of build with some decent health, but her defense is low. Not very happy with her defense. This weapon rolled to like min-rolled everywhere. Sucks. Yeah, so missing some stats here. This was actually a pretty decent piece that rolled. This one swapped in the attack for the, I think it was resistance here. So swap that in. It's pretty nice. This piece here is actually okay. I might want to get rid of the attack percent. Actually, yeah, maybe flat defense for defense percent. I don't know. I just want her to have more bulk, more defense. Here I modded in some HP. Maybe I could mod in defense instead. But again, you know, a lot of free counter pieces from the arena shop, right, that I'm using here. She has 81% crit chance. She did get buffed so that her crit chance buff she gives herself can activate even when she's not at 100% health. It activates if she's 70% or higher. So it's quite nice. I mean, I guess she would be good on something like Sigrid Scythe, but currently all 3 of my Sigrid Scythes are being used, so that's not an option. So I decided to put her on a support build here. So she's on counter, she's very slow, she's on Midnight Bloom, right, which gives her a crit chance to the team. She gives a speed imprint to the team, she has an attack buff, she has an effectiveness buff, so she's quite nice. I might try to see if I can use her in expeditions, but yeah, we'll have to wait on that. Alright, so moving on here, we have my Yufine. Ah, yes, as you can see, my Yufine's not on her crit damage build she's been on for forever. She's actually switched over to a rage set build. Now, I've been trying to test Banshee one-shots with Yufine. She gets close, but she's not quite there. I need better support units for her, so I need target debuff on the boss. I need an attack buffer and stuff, but overall, she's pretty decent, right? I mean, these pieces aren't the best, but Rage Set actually helps quite a bit in terms of damage output. Although I think it's harder to pull it off with Yufine than it is with someone like Baiken. So I might look into building someone like Baiken and moving this gear over. But for right now, I mean, she just looks very nice, right? These stats are about the same stats I had when I had her on a crit damage build, but now it's on a rage set, so pretty cool. Makes up for the extra crit chance with the Hell Cutter, but against Banshee you only need 85% crit chance, so you don't need the Hell Cutter. And yeah, she's on the increased damage on S1. Her effectiveness doesn't matter at all. But yeah, pretty fun unit. Don't really use her in PvP or anything like that anymore, so I'm trying to retune her for PvE. Alright, moving on, we have Charles. Nothing's really changed with Charles. I think I tried to give him some substat stones here and there, but overall his pieces were essentially perfect. Yeah, I tried this. Attack percent is actually not better than this flat attack, so yeah. He's still on flat attack there. Want to switch the speed over to defense, but I do not have any defense substat stones. Right? Very sad. No defense at all here. Very, very sad. The immunity pieces here, I think is pretty optimal. Again, this flat attack's better than attack percent. It's quite unfortunate. It just works out. Charles has very low base attack. And yeah, I don't think I'd change anything at all on any of his pieces here. Everything seems to work just perfectly fine. So, very happy with where he is. I have been bringing him into RTA recently, as I pre-banned Landy and just picked Charles. Very, very fun still to use. Been fooling around quite a bit during preseason. So he's on Elbrus, he's on the EE to give him extra chance to do S2 from his S1, of course, because why won't you sack the opponent? Right, and there we go. So just a little bit left and he'll be perfect, right? Just get rid of this speed here and we'll be good. Alright, moving on, we have Falconer Kluri. So Falconer Kluri, I rolled a few rings and they have better speed than the one she currently has, but they don't have effectiveness. So that's unfortunate, and I don't really want to lower my effectiveness all too much. I do like her where she is right now, so I held off on switching that around. I did mod in some more effectiveness on some of her pieces, modded in some defense. She's looking pretty nice in terms of her bulk right now. Could use more defense, maybe a little less HP, but that's mostly because this necklace sucks. I didn't reforge it because, I mean, look at this. It's all over the place, right? Effectiveness with res here. 11 speed's good, but it has crit damage here. Like, which stat would you mod out, right? Would you mod out the crit damage for defense? But then you don't need effect res on her, right? The effectiveness is also low. I don't know how I feel about this. Maybe if I mod this for defense, it'd be good on some kind of healer, but not on Falconer Kluri. So I'm trying to get a better necklace on her. So until then, she's still stuck at 255 speed. This piece here I reforged because I got this to defense, right? This is quite nice. Good effectiveness as well. Really, really solid ring for her. The speed is a little low, but oh well, right? It works. She's, again, speed tuned with a lot of my units. Alright, we also have boots here. Mod out the attack percent here for HP percent. That'd be quite nice as well. And she's currently on a plus 30 adamant shield, right? So there we go. She's my adamant holder, so normally if I bring an Aureus user, I'd also pick Falconer Kluri. And yeah, she is using my Fire Expedition as well as being a very common pick for me in RTA. Alright, moving on, we have Celine. Yeah, Celine don't really have a ton of uses for her right now because Cleave is kind of dead, so the thing she counters is kind of not existent. Seadom's Oxlots, those are very common ones, right? But you can actually abuse her against things like Elena's and stuff like that. People still have those in Guild War defenses, so it's really fun to watch Celine just counter into things. Maid Chloe's and stuff like that on defense teams as well. Any healers, very good to draft her into. Perhaps you can draft her against things like DJ Basara and stuff, right? That could be kind of a nice counter pick as well. But again, it has to depend on the rest of the draft. So I like my Celine Speedy. She's not on immunity because she is quite fast and she does cleanse herself with her S3. The only time she gets screwed over without immunity is when you get Abyssal Crowned, or you just get stunned or something, like Cerise doesn't miss your Celine. So essentially you get luck sacked, right? But that's the only time immunity will really come up. I don't have the immunity pieces for that. Ideally she'd want to be on immunity with these stats, but oh well. Right, I like a bit of bulk on her because she is naturally very tanky, right, with HP and such. But yeah, 4k attack, almost 300 crit damage, 100% crit chance, with a plus 30 of her artifact, which is really nice for her. Plus 30 because you want the 100% chance to proc it, and she's on the EE that allows her to attack the person with the highest attack, right, while increasing damage. So with this, she's very consistent. Okay, moving on, we have Vildred's on a PvE farming thing. I tried to tune like a Banshee team with him, so again, Cleave is dead. I can't draft him in PvP or anything like that, really. So here are just a bunch of spare pieces of gear that he's holding, mostly for World Boss for CP, and yeah, his own artifact here, just for fun. So Banshee type unit that I'm trying to see if I can get to work, but I might have to build Vivian to replace him. But yeah, he's still a good dog walker. Still really versatile. Alright, moving on, we have Bellona, right? Bellona here, actually, I use her quite a bit. She's in Azimanic 13, part of my team there. Again, most of her things not I-90'd. Pretty decent pieces that I could I-90, but currently do not have the resources for. I do need to start building more crit chance necklaces because they are really good on certain units. And yeah, she's taken like some really good pieces actually. She actually has some really insane gear on her. Maybe mod in some attack percent here. This is a decent boot. It's not the worst, but I don't know. Anyway, she's looking pretty solid. She's on Bloodstone for the healing, helps sustain the team in Azimanic 13, and yeah, on the defense break EE to help her defense break the boss. Or sorry, is this? Yes, actually. Perhaps it should be changed, right? We might change this to this, dispel a buff, right? So we'll change it to the one that spells, because A13 you want to dispel buffs. I had her on the defense break one because I was trying her out in Banshee. That's right, I was trying her out in Banshee to try and do defense breaks and stuff, but that didn't work out, and I'm not farming Banshee at the moment because I have all the pieces I need for lifesteal. So yeah, she's back on Azimanic duty. Alright, so there we go. That makes more sense. Alright, next up we have Iseria. Works so well with Tamarinne in expeditions. Love it, love it, love it for the dark expedition here. So, quite tanky. You don't need her speed tuned with Tamarinne necessarily. My dark expedition gets 600, 800k points per run. So, I guess if you speed tuned her, she'd be a little bit better. They work a little bit better, I think, but I haven't tested it yet, and I honestly didn't have the pieces to try to increase her speed but keep everything else the same. And the reason for that is because, as you can see, she has over 85% effectiveness, so you can debuff the bosses, but she also has 100% effect res, so she resists the cannon. She can't be reset, so she can continuously reset Tamarinne, continuously put out defense breaks, unbuffables, and all that good stuff. She was on Sasha Atanes though for the Azimanic 13, because I was running that, but normally I would have her on Song of the Stars for expeditions, right, for the target debuff as well. Okay, so moving on, we have Landy. Yeah, that's right, I know I built Landy. Okay, all right, those of you guys who are in Discord, you've been pestering me to build Landy for months now, and I finally did it. Okay, I did it out of spite, And I'm actually a little bit happy about it because she has a 100% win rate in World Arena right now as of me using her. So would like to plus 15 her. So waiting for today's Sunday, so waiting for Mola Monday and for the steeple to reset so I can craft more catalyst there, right, and get more Molas. So that's what I'm lacking here. She's very, very powerful unit. Automatic plus 15 for me here. Don't have any imprints on her, but oh well. Her stats are here. I mean, I don't think she needs any imprints as of right now. She's very solid right here. The reason being, she has very high attack and crit damage right now. I would like more bulk. I would like more defense. I would like more HP. However, I don't have the gear for that right now. So we're stuck with this, okay? We're stuck with this. This is actually the piece of gear that I crafted from the crafting event. Unfortunately, it rolled flat attack twice, but it high rolled speed once, so I got a 4 speed roll, and it high rolled attack 2 times, I think. I think it rolled perfectly in speed and attack. So these were 3 perfect rolls, and they got 2 flat attack rolls. Very sad about that, but oh well. If this was maybe HP percent, it might be better. Maybe I'll look into that. Maybe I'll see if I had the HP percent during the event, this would have been pretty good if it high rolled into that. But unfortunately, I went for a flat attack because I was like, this is going to be pure damage build. Nope. Nope, roll into flat attack, very sad. But hey, 3600 attack, not too bad. 260 crit damage, defense piercing, right? Not too shabby. So she does have 12,000 HP here because I do have quite a bit of HP subs, and she's over 1,000 defense, which I do like. I don't like her not tanky. She needs to be tanky because if you're in guiding light, you do not want to be do not want your opponent to break you out of stealth. Right, so here are her stats here on the boots. Very solid boots there as well. And yeah, we're on Guiding Light. I'm working on this Guiding Light with bottles. As you can see here, we have 2 imprints on this. I'm trying to bottle this to max. I think it's 70%. So it's going to be quite good. But yeah, it's a very strong artifact. And I think it's the best in slot for Landy. Like, if you don't have Guiding Light, maybe put something like Portrait. Maybe put something like Symbol of Unity on her. But in my opinion, Guiding Light is the best, hands down the best artifact for her. She just sits in the back line. She's like a Spectre Tenebria, and it's so annoying. That's why I built her, so that I can steal her from my opponent's draft, and they can't use her against me. So, there we go. Next up, we have Rin. Nothing's really changed about her, however, I'm really tempted to mod in things like effectiveness in here in place of effect res, right? Mod in effectiveness in place of effect res. This one's actually a pretty good piece. Here I want to mod in some stuff in place of crit chance. Mod in some... Oh, this piece here I feel like can go on somebody else. Because if I put crit damage in here in place of effect res, this would be really strong as a bruiser thing, right? HP, speed, crit damage, crit chance, defense, right? It'd be a really solid bruiser piece. However, I could also mod away the crit chance for something else and just make this a dedicated, healer support piece. So this is a weird piece, and I don't really want to mod it at this time, just in case something comes along that can use it. And here, yeah, really bad boots. My counter boots suck, so don't even look at that. But her stats are pretty decent. Her stats are pretty good. Would like a bit more effectiveness, a bit more bulk on her. Her speed is actually pretty nice for being on a counter build. So yeah, very happy with her overall. She's on Celestine because she's on a counter build. Helps her sustain the team. She's very strong in Hall of Trials. Right? Not for high scoring, but just for, sustaining your team, right? Just clearing your weekly runs or bi-weekly runs. She's on the EE that dispels the debuff, which is very strong in Hall of Trials and PvP, right? If you get unbuffable on your team, you want to cleanse that, and she cleanses it before, she cleanses it before the skill, where you buff your team for a bunch of buffs, right? So it's quite nice. Okay, so moving on here, we have Roana. Roana got a few little upgrades here in terms of her gear. She's at 150, almost 160% effect res, quite nice. Got this very nice piece here. She's on defense set as well, defense and speed. So there we go. Yeah, so essentially very optimized, right? Except for the crit damage here. I think this is like some of the crit damage that I would like to get rid of. But then again, this necklace is not that great, so it doesn't really matter, right? And yeah, here, not the best ring. There's no speed or anything on there. Kind of sucks, but it has the HP and defense roll, so I'm using it. And this boot sucks as well, but it has the effect res, so that's why I'm using it, right? So, yeah, overall, she works, right? She doesn't have to have the best gear to work. She just works. She's on Stella Harpa. I actually pulled another copy of it sometime, I think, during one of those free summon events or something, or a daily summon. And yeah, if I can get this to max, that'd be fantastic. Stella Harpa is so annoying to deal with on a healer, but Idol's Cheer and stuff like that works on her as well. So there we go. That's my Roana. Very nice into SSB or F10As. Alright, next up, General Purgus, Wyvern General Purgus, but I think I upgraded some of his pieces here. So he got a little bit more bulky. Yeah, this piece right here, right? This is a really nice piece, isn't it? I just have no one else to use it on, so it's on General Purgus right now. Okay, and I think pretty much everything else kind of stayed the same. Yeah, so he's on Proof of Valor right here. Take less damage from Wyvern. He's my Wyvern General Purgus, but hey, you could bring him into PvP. Who cares, right? He'll be able to push up your team and punish the opponent for using AoEs, because why not? He's on the EE that gives him gives your team additional combat readiness push, which is always very nice. Although sometimes in PvP I see some people use the defense buff one, 20% chance to increase his own defense, which could be nice. A lot of people are building him as bruisers, where it's like 20k HP, 1000 to 1200 defense, some attack, right? 100% crit chance, 250 plus crit damage, 200 plus speed, and yeah, those are very scary General Purguses. They hit very hard, and they're very common in PvP nowadays. He's very annoying to deal with, so I might build up a second General Purgus. I do have a spare one. If I build him up, I'll use this one for PvP, and I'll put the other one on my Wyvern gear, right? So, yeah, because this one already has Molas in him. Alright, but anyway, moving on here, we have my LQC. Got re-geared, so watch out for this. LQC here got imprinted, right? Imprinted here. So more defense. She is bulky. Yeah, that's right. I re-geared LQC to be insanely bulky. People try to focus her down all the time, and they can't. They can't kill her. 1300 defense, 17,000 HP, same speed, crit chance, crit damage, attack as before. I think more attack than before. So yeah, really, really happy with her build right here. And there's really nothing I would change about it, except maybe put her on immunity, but I do run her with Fire Cecilia very often. So Fire Cecilia gives my team immunity, and I mean, it's good, right? If you're being outsped and the opponent's going first, they most likely already have a stripper anyway. So in that case, you're kind of screwed regardless, right? F10A, Cerise, and stuff like that. You're screwed regardless. So, I don't know. I haven't really missed immunity altogether. There's never really been a game where I'm like, I lost because I didn't have immunity on LQC first turn. So, it would be good if she was on immunity, just in case, you know. Could help deter stuns, you know, all that good stuff. But again, there hasn't really been a time where I'm like, I lost because I didn't have immunity. She's on Sigrid Scythe. She's very tanky. When she gets below half, she just nukes something and you just heal up. So, yeah, very strong unit. One of my favorite picks in RTA nowadays. I use her all the time in battles where there might not even be dark units. She's just there for the damage mitigation and for her ability to just nuke while ignoring defense. So, very good. Alright, moving on here, we have Crimson Armin. Yeah, she's just on a build. I use her in Guild Wars. She is pretty good if you want to gear her for PvP. I don't really draft her in PvP because I use FCC instead, because I like the barriers. Barriers help protect my units who are in stealth, like Kise, like Landy, guiding light units and stuff like that. But Crimson Armin does have her uses, but mitigates flat damage, right? Crit or non-crit damage, whatever. So she is one of the best damage mitigators in the game now. With that buff, she's on Aureus to share some of the damage as well. So she's really, really strong. Right, I would like her to have more HP, but as of right now, she does have quite a bit of defense. Yeah, she's on a defense ring, so she's on quite a bit of defense here. So, whatever. Mine's plus 15 for no reason, but yeah. Very solid unit. I think if you want to build her for PvP, get her to like 230 speed. You're going to require a lot of good gear for that, but get her to 230 speed. People might not see it coming, and you can win games off of that. Alright, moving on though, we have Tempest Surin. I love my Tempest Surin here, and here she is right now on Alexis Basket. She could be on Moonlight Dreamblade, but Alexis has been putting in work. She has very strong offensive stats. I would like her speed to be higher, but it doesn't matter because she cuts in regardless, right? She's gonna be cutting in unless they have like Opsig or someone that pushes her back, which is very rare. She's gonna be taking a turn, so it does not matter. A lot of things that were changed here. I swapped attack percent, but I had flat attack. I think I gained like 6 attack from this, so it was kind of a useless change. Rip. There might be potential for more speed here, right? Could hit 290 if this rolls a 4, but yeah. Other than that, she's overcapped on crit chance, but there's nothing I can do about it as of right now. These pieces here have way too much attack and crit damage, right? So I have to use those. It's pretty solid, her build. I don't like effectiveness on her. It's kind of useless for me. I'm not at the level where I would like to try to debuff, you know, healers and things. That's not the purpose of this T-Surin. This T-Surin is there to clap people and punish them. I usually take her in against teams that debuff very heavily or have some kind of a control comp thing to it, right? Because she can cleanse herself and then she can punish the opponent. She's also very good as an anti-cleave unit as well because of her passive, so that's what she's there for. Alright, moving on here we have Celeste. Actually, Celeste is not geared. Moving on, we have Faithless Lidica. So Faithless Lidica here is also on Guiding Light. Retuned some of her pieces. Oh, look at that beautiful stat line, right? Absolutely love it. Yeah, retune some health here. I would like to give this effectiveness, right? That would be very nice, but I don't have an effectiveness gem as of right now. Put an effectiveness gem here, right, in place of res, I think it was, so that's quite good. So over a 150 effectiveness again. This ring sucks. All my effectiveness rings sucks. This is my fastest effectiveness ring on speed set, 13 speed. It's pathetic, but none of my rings would like to roll more speed, which really sucks. Yeah, so here we are. Her boots are really good though. Alright, so yeah, Guiding Light on her, very strong unit. I last pick her in RTA, not really used all too often otherwise. You don't want to first pick her or anything. She's really bad against General Purgus. There's a lot of units that will punish you, right? Politis and stuff like that for trying to CR push. So, unfortunately, Cleave is dead, but hey. F Lidica though, still one of my favorite units. Next up, Cleave is dead, but Watcher Shuri still has utility as a 10-speed imprint, and here, his stats right here, pretty solid. Now, he would actually reach about 3k, I think, but I swapped out one of his boots that had higher attack. Gave him to Holiday Yufine. But here we go. He also actually, he could probably reach that 3k with this Reforged, but I didn't do that yet. Alright. But overall, you know, mostly just go for damage, stack damage, and speed. This could actually be speed here, but I chose not to. I think that was effectiveness or something that I swapped out. Yeah, so he works really well on flat attack, by the way. Flat attack is more beneficial to him than attack percent. So that's there. And yeah, we have a modded attack boot here as well. So I like him fast. I like him to go and just snipe something. It helps him guarantee a turn. Sasha Achates helps him, because if you use him with something like Sidon pops something, he gets to get pushed up because of his already high speed, and because you already pushed someone up with Sidon, probably with something like Lidica, I'm talking about Guild Wars and stuff, usually Arena, then he'll take the turn and he'll snipe something else as well, right? Pretty nice. Khawana actually works really well with Sidon and Watcher Shuri, because you Khawana, give everyone the attack buff, push Sidon up, Sidon pushes Watcher Shuri up, Sidon nukes something, Watcher Shuri pushes himself up with Sasha, and then Watcher Shuri snipes something. So very good wombo combo there, takes out 2 units, and if it's Arena, it'll just be a 4v2 at that point. Right, and then you have your 4th unit, who's probably an AoE damage dealer or a single target nuke as well, that can take out the last threat, and usually the last remaining person's a support unit or a knight or something like that. So, very, very effective. I don't draft him in RTA all too much, although if someone's trying to contest speed, he's one of the go-tos for the imprint. Alright, moving on, we have Broman. Oh, actually, something's changed about him, a little bit. So, I've changed, dropped his effectiveness for speed, right? Changed his bulk around again, so instead of low defense and high HP, he's now high defense and low HP. It swaps like every other month, but It is what it is. This helmet sucks because it has mixed stats, but it has speed, so that's why it's on him. This piece here, I would kind of like to put effectiveness here, but it's a weird piece because it's on crit set. Same thing here, this is on crit set. Maybe swap out the effect res for effectiveness. Again, this is a really weird piece. You might want to swap out the crit damage too, but because it's on a crit damage set, maybe it's okay. I don't know. Maybe it's okay, maybe it isn't. We'll see. Ring here, again, effectiveness rings suck for me. And he's on a decent boost. Swap this, I think this used to be crit damage, swapped it to effectiveness. It's actually a pretty solid boot, right? Gives him a lot of bulk. Very happy about this one. He's on Abyssal Crown, my only copy. I'm very sad I was a noob when I merged I had 2 Abyssal Crowns. I merged one into this one. Very, very sad about that. Biggest regret about this game. This, right? This. Oh my goodness. Horrible. But Broman went from 250 speed to 260. And he's very solid for my arena defense, so he's there for that. I bring him into Guild Wars a lot too. I like to bring him as a control comp unit. Very fun. Next up, Silverblade Araminta, also a control comp unit. Although I stole some of her pieces, I think I stole her boot. Yes, I stole her boot, and I gave it to Hala Yufine. And then I stole it from Hala Yufine, and now it's currently on Landy. So, oh well, guess it's you know, serving a purpose now. Alright, so yeah, her gear is not the greatest, not fully on 90 or anything. I don't use her all too often, don't draft her in RTA. I use her in Guild Wars a lot. She's very fun there. I use her in Arena sometimes when there's a team that can be controlled. But yeah, if I want to use her in RTA, she'd need to be way faster. Probably bring up her effectiveness again. She used to have pretty high effectiveness, but because I stole her boot, this thing has no effectiveness anymore, so that's sad. But yeah, you can drop her attack and bring up speed and effectiveness, and she'll be very strong. She would prefer Abyssal Crown, but I have her on Tagahel's Ancient Book because I don't have Abyssal Crowns. Alright, well, yeah, there we are. So, unfortunate, but oh well. Next up, we have Doris. So Doris here, for a Guild War build, not too shabby overall, I think, right? Swapped around a couple pieces, right? She has immunity. This one's a pretty decent piece. This one, I swapped this for defense instead of effectiveness, I think it was, which is okay. I mean, it means this piece didn't roll that great, right? It's missing a roll with this, if you look at it. Missing 2 rolls with this, actually, if you look at it. But it works, because it's immunity, support stats. They don't need too much, right? They're okay. So yeah, Guild War unit. I don't bring her into RTA because I don't really usually bring healers. If I do, it's a Ruel or Diene. But yeah, spare gear here. You know, 78 ring, whatever. Has some effect res, has some defense. She's actually lacking defense. I would like that to be higher. Her HP is also a little low, but it's okay. She's on Water's Origin, but I mean, Revenant Violets, Arby's, and stuff like that into her. She does her job. Her passives are really strong, right? From her skill tree awakenings, very strong against dark units, and this hasn't failed me, right? Has not failed me at all. Alright, moving on, we have Ruel. Yes, she has been tuned a little bit more. 19k HP now. Very optimized stat line. Very happy about that. The only thing that really sucks is her necklace, which I have not actually I haven't reforged like half her pieces, so she has a lot more potential here. This is a piece I would probably reforge, but because she's a healer, I'm kind of putting this on the back burner, right? Rolled really well. It's a good piece, but not a top priority for me to reforge right now. This piece sucks. It's like a +6. Yeah, this sucks, but I don't have any better necklaces. I'm lacking HP % necklaces, which I do need to start focusing on. Pretty decent ring here, not too bad. And then this boot is okay. I want to swap the attack % off for maybe flat defense or something. Bring that defense stat up a little, right? If she can reach 20k HP and 2k defense, that'd be insane. But I'm also missing stats because Water's Origin's not maxed. Again, no charms, no gold. But yeah, overall, she does her job. I don't draft her all too often, but when I do, she usually gets banned. And yeah, I don't have her mullet either. I don't have her S2 and stuff mullet. It never really comes up where I need it. But yeah, moving on. Commander Lorena, PvE, really strong. Here we go, right? Nothing's changed about her. No substat stones used on her because she doesn't need it. She does her job. She's on Daydream Joker. I use her in Labyrinth all the time. And yeah, she just, that's Commander Lorena. It's been the same for me for months. Okay, moving on, we have Dark Corvus. I think I swapped a couple pieces here. Yeah, I think he has more HP now. I don't care that he has very slow speed. Oh yeah, he did get more effect res, which is pretty good. I don't care that he has low speed because he's run with General Purgus, who always pushes him up. So here are all his HP set pieces. You could run a speed main stat boot, but I chose not to. He's on Strat Gauntlet, which pushes him up to about 160 effect res, so he's not going to get debuffed in Guild Wars. Smack everything down, and you win. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, next up, Kitty Clarissa. So, Kitty Clarissa here. Yeah, same build as usual. If I build a DJ Basar, which I'm thinking about right now, I might share her pieces with him. So I'll just make her about 250 res instead of like this, which is with Strat Gauntlet in. She's over 300% effect res. She's never been debuffed. She's never going to get debuffed. There's no way that anyone's building a unit that has 300 effectiveness. So she is literally one of the best resist units in the game because of Strat Gauntlet here. She's a warrior. And yeah, so this is not even reforged. She could probably hit even higher resistance with this, and higher speeds too, which would actually be kind of nice. But because it's one of these that I have to use manifestation stones, I think they're called for, I didn't do that. So if this could be reforged, that'd be insane. This would be like 38 res or something. It'd be ridiculous. This is a pretty good piece, resistance, right? Just looking for resistance here. Could mod this away for like flat HP or something. Give her more bulk. This was modded for HP, right? This can be modded here. Give her the crit chance for HP %, right? That's what I'd like. But yeah, dedicated cleanser, very strong unit. I use her everywhere whenever there's debuffs, whether in Guild War, Arena, RTA. I use her all the time. She just has this one mola here for cooldown, right? That's about it. I don't do any of this stuff here. It's not needed, right? Okay, next up, ML Ken. Very happy about my ML Ken. Very, very happy about my ML Ken. All free gear. None of this stuff was gear that I crafted, right? None of this. All free gear. Very strong. Very, very strong. 18k HP, 1400 defense, no speed at all. Just attack sets giving him the almost 4k attack, and he's 280 something crit damage. Very solid unit. I know a lot of people are building effect res Kens. I can't. I don't have imprints on him. If you're building effect res Ken, you need this. Right, 27% effect res there. Absolutely insane. But yeah, he's on my plus 15 Sigurd because LQC I use way more. But ML Ken is a situational last pick. If your opponent's too squishy, they can't deal with ML Ken. Plop him in there. Whenever you draft him, he gets banned. So it doesn't even matter, right? You're starting to see a pattern here where there's really good units that would, thrive in a certain situation, just get banned because the opponent sees it coming. They don't want to deal with it. So yeah, there we go. He's very strong. I use him in Guild Wars a lot. He's very good against Landys in Guild War. You might be like, well, how's he good against Landy in Guild War? She prevents him from countering. You bring, so you see FCC Surin FCC Surin Landy defenses. Bring ML Ken to 2 fire units. Landy will eventually run out of the ability to use S3. She'll S1 the ML Ken, and she gets clapped. So, there you go. That's pretty much it. He's really good for that. I've been testing him out. Fantastic. Alright, moving on here, we have Fallen Cecilia. Yeah, not fully I-90'd. I only I-90'd the immunity stuff because I had the additional materials for it. But not the Wyvern stuff because I am very poor on those materials. But here we go. She's very tanky, right? I would like her HP to be higher, right? But, she's okay right now. If reforged on stuff, she would have higher stats. She'd have higher speeds. But she works. And that's all that matters, right? She works. She does her job. Damage mitigation, people focus her down all the time in RTA, and that's exactly what you want. Keeps your team alive, her barriers are thick, she has a plus 30 Aureus for damage mitigation, and that's all she's really there for me. Alright, so there we go. That's FCC there, and of course Mola to get the 100% chance to provoke because it is broken. Right, absolutely broken skill there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on, we have Arby. Hasn't changed. I haven't used subset stones on him because I like his bulk. S10As have a hard time killing Arbys when you have Adamant Aureus on your team, and Arby is this thick. So, yeah, kind of very happy with all my stats. I know some people go YOLO Arbys, you know, 4,000 plus attack, 4,500 attack. They usually have imprints too. You know, 240, 250 speed Arbys, like 300 crit damage. And they just go fast, they go nuke, but then they have like 800 defense and 8,000 HP. It's a good YOLO RB, very strong, very, very dangerous to fight against, especially if, you know, they usually have plus 30 Alexas, they proc Gabs, they just win because of that. I don't do that. I don't draft RB anymore very often. If my opponent is drafting stealth units and S10As and stuff, I'll bring RB. But there's so many counters to him. I actually don't have any counters to him, so that's usually the reason why I used to pick RB a lot in RTA, because I couldn't fight him. My only counter is like Angelica, but she's really hard to draft in RTA. And I guess Lilibet, but again, she's also really hard to draft in RTA. So I don't have Tomoka, I don't have ML Haste, you know, I don't have those units. So it's hard for me to counter him, so I try to pick him whenever I can. Alright, moving on, we have Crescent Moon Rin, which is very nice because she's on decent stats. Not the best because her speed could be much higher. Kawana's hogging a lot of the gear right now. Because I just love using her. But ML Rin could easily reach over 300 something speed. I might consider moving stuff from Khawana to ML Rin and just slowing down Khawana for fun. Because, I mean, I use both in RTA. I use Rin against Cerises, and I use Khawana against everything else, right? If someone brings Acids and stuff, I'll bring Khawana, but yeah. Overall, she's very good as a control unit, very good as a support unit. Immunity buffs is very strong nowadays. A-Tywins and stuff running around. You have a lot of debuffers as well. She's very strong. RNL is her artifact here. Take the extra turns. Sometimes you get 15%ed on her S3, or maybe on her S2. You can take an extra turn if you get 15% on S3, and yeah, you get to still stun something or steal some buffs. Again, effectiveness rings suck with speed. That's why she's only 280. She has really high base speed, right? But my speed gear sucks, so very sad. My units are quite slow, so it's unfortunate. Especially rings and necklaces, they don't roll that much speed. Alright, moving on, we have all-rounder Wanda, who's on spare gear, so we're skipping over her, and Briarwitch Iseria. So here we go. This unit here, re-geared, right? Look at this, almost 260 speed, pretty decent effectiveness. You're really debuffing like the DPS units and stuff, putting on buffables and things like that on them. You don't need too much. She's not a dedicated debuffer. As you can see, she has attack, she has crit chance, right? And a little bit of crit damage. So decided to put her on this build, and it's been working quite well because you want to fight Landys, right? You strip Landy of her stealth, put unbuffable on her, she can't get back into stealth, attack down on her, she can't do more damage to you. This is really good against ML Kraus, FCCs, just all those units with a bunch of buffs and like barriers and things like that mitigate damage. Unbuffable is really good. Briarwitch Iseria is kind of in the same tier as like Basar, right? Basar has the additional ability to push back and ignore effect res. Briarwitch Iseria brings to the table, you know, defense breaks, right? In this, she has a higher % chance to hit things, so things like Moonlight Dream Blades, right? You can strip those units, you can hit those units, you can hit Rylets and stuff like that. Overall, very, very solid. And she's running Guiding Light, so she's kind of like an S10A in the back, just sitting there, right, at the start of the turn. It's really, really strong, especially like if your opponent brings something like Falconer Kluri and things like that that could potentially outspeed you. This is why she doesn't need to be insanely fast. Have her on Guiding Light. Those Kluris and things can't provoke you, right? So you're good. Especially if you have her with a unit with a barrier, then even, you know, knights that have AoEs, like a Raz or something, can't knock you out of stealth. So you're very safe in the back, and you're essentially ensured that you get a turn, right? At least a turn. With this speed, you're taking at least 2 turns because you have immortality here as well. So yeah, very happy with her build, right? And her crit chance is actually perfect to synergize with Seadom's team imprint, which allows her to get 100% chance. So if y'all want to use her as an opener with Seadom, I could, which is quite nice. Alright, so moving on here, we have Oxlots. He's on Guild War build. Look at this scuffed Oxlots. I remember back then I just really wanted him. Put him on some of my best speed gear when I got him. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Rest in peace, Cleave. It's way too hard to pull it off. So he's on spare gear. None of this stuff's fantastic. None of this stuff's really any good. But here it is. Right, this is actually a pretty decent piece. If I mod this for like HP percent, this could be a pretty good piece. But yeah, overall, he's on Target Hells, so you boost someone up, you soul burn, they do things, right? Oxlot stuff. Just Oxlot stuff. Yeah, he's on immunity because he's so slow. So in case they outspeed him or something, they can't do too much to him. He's bulky too, so he'll survive like an Acid if I for some reason bring Oxlots into Acids on Guild War defenses. Alright, but Cdom, unit I've been talking about that synergizes with a lot of my units, right? Crit chance here, 12%, 13% to the team. I love my Cdom. Look how optimized she is. Oh, but it's unfortunate that Cleave is dead, so can't really use her all too often. Very unfortunate. Makes me sad, but she's running some of my best pieces of gear. Ah, it feels bad, guys. It feels bad. It really does. But yeah, here she is in her full glory. She can almost reach she could reach 4K attack and even more crit damage, but I had some pieces that I wanted to keep on some of my other units. And yeah, I don't draft her enough, but if they tank up too much, if my opponent tanks up too much, she's an ultimate tank buster. Like I mentioned with Khawana, right? She synergizes super well with her Watcher Shuri and all that good stuff. She's on Target Hells because you soul burn her and you pop something, anything you want, especially with an attack buff, everything dies. And yeah, very, very good. Alright, next up we have Champion Zerato, and Champion Zerato here, plus 15, very bulky unit right here. I don't believe I changed much from his last build, right, the last time I showed him. I would like to reforge some stuff, but again, he's low priority for me right now because he's already doing his job really well. He's never dies. He just doesn't die, right? Lifesteal with these bulky stats with some damage, pretty decent damage too. He's not gonna die. Aila Violin, fantastic as well on him. Yeah, just trying to get him to a Friendship 8 so I can get some molas back, but no complaints about him whatsoever. Alright, so moving on, we have last unit, actually second to last unit. I want to show off one more unit here, but we have Angelica. Now Angelica here is on a Guild War build. She's not used all too often because people who run RBs on defenses now tend to have Cerises and stuff, but mine does not have 250 effect res. If mine was 250 effect res, it would be fantastic, but there are some defenses where they just have RBs as the only threat, and the rest are not really too great. Brings Angelica and just win. Right? It's she's still really great in Guild Wars. I prefer having speed on her, but if you're able to get effect res on her, she's actually very strong. I just have all my effect res gear on things like Kitty Clarissa, and I have some that I'm saving for units like DJ Bassar. So yeah, here we go. She's on Shimadra's staff right now, just for the extra effect res on her. The extra healing doesn't really come out too much, but it's okay. Alright, so that's my Angelica right here. Now the last unit I want to show you guys is this, my Fairytale Tenebria. And you're looking at this like, oh my god, look at this scuffed gear. I know it is. It is very scuffed gear. No molas, nothing. But, been testing her in the Earth Expedition, and boy does she put in work. 5-star, right? Not even 6-starred. She's a fully awakened, but, you know, not the best weapon. It's like damage, but she's not a damage build, right? Effectiveness, health, speed, effectiveness, health, speed, defense, speed, health, right? Effectiveness, health, and defense. Ignore damage stats. I'm lacking so many good speed rings on with effectiveness on it. This is just a random one from when I was a scrub, and I plus 15 this for some reason. Okay, random boot I had laying around. This used to be on Broman, but because I switched Broman to a faster build, I had this random hit set here for more effectiveness on her. Had some bulk, had some effectiveness. Very nice. So yeah, here we go. She's helped me quite a bit. Earth Expeditions, I need to test her more often. She's on Etika Scepter, which procs sometimes. It's actually pretty cool. Procs sometimes. Yeah, and she defense breaks the boss, right? I mean, obviously it's not Molad, but you have a chance to defense break, right? You can decrease speed on the boss, which helps your team take more turns because the boss is moving slower and cycling slower. and you have the useless S1 against the boss. But doesn't matter because you have Etika Scepter, hopefully decreasing your skill cooldowns, cycling through all of your skills. She has decent speed. She's not too fast because it's all spare gear, but she works. She has enough bulk to survive, which I prioritized. She has a bit of speed to go before my RB, which is my DPS. You can use Kayron there as well, and she has the effectiveness as well to put in the work. So maybe I'll make an Earth Expedition video. It's not going to be the best one out there. I'm only hitting around 500k now. I used to only hit 200, 300k, but now I'm hitting around 500k, 550k with Tenebria. So I'll think about making a video if that's consistent enough. I'm going to test it for a couple weeks and see how it goes, but I'll share the results with you guys. All right. But with that being said, that's going to be it for the video. It's a very long one, almost 1.5 hours. My voice is dead. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe for more Epic 7 content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.